That's nuts. I can tell
Yeah.
you come on a real mental journey.
Oh, mate, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Man, I could tell you everything that went down. Actually, you know what? I will.
Yeah, go
Okay.
for it, man. Highs and
Yeah,
lows.
man. Yeah, definitely. Um, how was my first year? It was perfect. Like, I mean, it may not be the case for everyone listening. I know someone whose third year was the best. That's when they found the squad. For me, it was my first year. I don't know. How about you?
I can't say.
You don't know. They all
The
banged.
verdict's
They
still
all didn't.
out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna be here for
That's it.
6 years, so
Yeah, you've got. Yeah, that's
let
not.
me not
I'm
get in trouble
jealous,
too
man.
early.
That's can't be. I'm jealous. But yeah, so for me, that first year, like obviously things it didn't count, but still it was just enjoyable because it didn't count. The pressure was not as straining, but you're
Mm.
meeting all these people, hopefully getting along with all these people, making these new friends, new relationships, new bonds. Everything just was just so perfect in first year. I couldn't have asked for a better first year. But then that summer came, and then man, there's like so many, like I was looking at my life like something I must have walked under a ladder or like broke a mirror or just something's giving me some bad luck right now because
Damn.
like the things life have thrown at me. So that summer, so first year summer, I
Mm.
think, yeah. So I think like I was having like problems with my mental health and I don't know like where it came from. Like it's hard to find like the root. Um, I don't know, maybe it's happened in my family a bit here and there, but I don't know the root. But then I took that into second year and obviously told told my flatmates before and it's like, okay, guys, I might not go out as much. It's a bit mad right now because you need to like you need when it in a time like that, your friends and family are the best people who can pick you up when you're down,
Yeah.
but they need to know you're down to begin with. So that's why like I told them and yes, he took that into second year, yeah. And then man, January exams happened, yeah. And I looked at what my grades were. And are you ready for this, yeah? So I got let me see. So the first set of exams that counted, I got 43,
Oh,
48, and 60. And I worked hard. I worked hard for that. And then I don't know, man, what was your like after your first year, like what's that feeling like? It's just mad, innit?
yeah. Because I mean, I failed my first year, but
Yeah.
for me, the whole time I was like, oh, well, it doesn't count. I don't really care. And then this year, like this thing called second year, it's
Yeah.
bad. It's because I feel like first year they design it so people coming through A levels don't feel it as much.
Yeah.
Second year is kind of where you really starts, like where you really get all these mad equations, and it's like, oh my days, what is?
What is happened? I think the jump from first to second is the biggest. Like
Mm,
second to third, I think if you finish second year, like your work, you're like, you're, how much you need to work now. But that first to second year jump is insane. So be ready for that, I guess. But second to third year, the jump is smaller.
mm,
But,
that's good to hear.
but yeah, man, I saw those grades and I was like, man, if had I not tried and I flopped, I'd have been like, okay, fine. Like, I didn't try, I'll try harder next time. But I worked hard and still, averaged a 50 when I wanted to average like, 60 minimum.
Mm,
Um, and that's hard, man, because then you start doubting yourself. Feel like, rah, like, should I be here? Am I smart enough to be here? Because it's easy to get to uni and then see all these people that are so smart, and smarter than you. Because say on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being no education, 10 being a PhD,
yeah.
I reckon like A star AA, all that band of people, everyone who went to Bristol, for example, that's
Hmm.
probably like a 6 or a 7 and up. So if I'm like a 6, I'm still categorized with like the tens. So I come to uni and I see all these guys and I'm like, wow, they're so smart. Why am I so like, how am I averaging 50 or what's going on? you know? So
Yeah.
that was another big blow, man. Like it's just another, yeah, that's second year. So there's the health thing and then there's the grades and then it comes to like summer exams and I'm like, man, I need to bang this, man. This is, luckily it was like 40, 30%, but so I need to bang this. And then so another thing happens. It's just again like unplanned. Sometimes life just throws things at you, and you just have to like. It's just testing your perseverance in it. And the fact that at uni you have this goal, this greater goal, which is to get your degree. the fact that you have to keep charging on towards that, despite like people throwing all these rocks at you, that's what makes you stronger, I think. And so like in that Easter in second year, I then went through a breakup. And yeah. And then what happens after Easter?
Summer
exams, exactly. I was like, bruh, I was literally looking at my life. Like, obviously, no, like, you know, she wasn't happy. That's fine. It happens. But I was looking at my life and I was like, man, like, you know, in Warzone when you're down and then it just says like precision airstrike incoming and you're just like, fam, I'm already done out here, man. Give me a break. Like, come on. But yeah, that was the biggest blow. And then somehow, you know, get back to uni. I'm like, okay, this is awful, man. Like, I need to drag this grade up. I'm not happy as it is. Now I've had this happen. And, you know, so honestly, like some days I just wake up and I just like, you know, just like stare at the ceiling and be like, what am I, like, I need to drop out. Like, I was like, I need to drop out. Like, allow it. Yeah. But then that's the thing, like, it comes to a point in your life where things can go wrong and you have to ask yourself, you have to take a step back and ask yourself, like, what kept me going before all these things went wrong? Because whatever was holding me together then is going to be able to piece me together now and stop me from quitting and giving up on my goals. And once I kind of thought about that and, you know, and in my case, it was, you know, well, you know, I was learning GCSEs and A-levels and working hard for free. Like, I wasn't paying for this. I didn't need to do it, but I was working hard. Why was I working so hard? And I was like, okay, you know, in my case, you know, from a young age, my parents was like, you know, get a job, go education, get a degree, get a job.
Yeah.
And then that's always been my motivations, you know, to be able to provide for myself, provide for my family, and so on and so forth. And when you kind of find that original intention and motivation, that kind of like, that kept me going for that exam season. And then, you know, it just, oh man, it was tough, but we came out the other end and then I averaged like 58 and it wasn't perfect, but considering the circumstances where I could have just got 0 and just not went to the exams, like I was gassed. I was gassed. And then I was gassed, man. And then that summer happened. That summer was so good for like, you know, to just take a break from it. Cause that was the summer like England went quite far in the World Cup. I don't know. Do you remember that summer?
Yeah, that would have been what, 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, that summer was mad. I don't
That
know.
was good, yeah.
The weather was banging. England was doing bits. Yeah, that summer was good. Yeah, that's gassed. Yeah, and then we come back to third year, and I'm like, okay, now it's like, I think I have to average like 66. So, you know, 66, 67, whatever it is. And then this is like, it's just still going. Like, I'm still getting bad luck for some reason. I'm like, in the library, library, doing like an application for HSBC. And then midway through the application, my neck just like, it gets stuck at a 90-degree angle. And I'm looking to the right and I just cannot move it. If I move it, it's like the worst pain I've ever felt. And then I just went home. And then the next day, my friend sent me to a GP and they gave me like this cocodamol, which is like, I don't know if you heard about it, but it's a strong painkiller, man. And I was in bed for a week, like back into third year, you know, I was like, yeah, let's do this. This is the year. And I'm just like bedridden. And these painkillers were so strong, yeah. So they told me to put like a hot water bottle on my neck, to try and, you know, loosen it up and then move it as much as I can when the pain goes. Fam, they were so strong. I hadn't realized that I didn't put the cover on the hot water bottle. And then so I was just sat there like in my bed with the hot water bottle on my neck, like just for ages, like not feeling the thing. And the next day I go into my kitchen and my flatmate's like, yo, what's that on your neck? And I just burned, like I literally just burned my whole neck. And that's how strong it was. I just sat there like sizzling. And I just didn't even clock it. Oh man. But yeah, and I had coursework to do during that as well. So it's just like, man, what is happening? And then what happened then? There was some, yeah. And then this is the last one. It's still deep, but then another day I'm like, okay, after that recovers. So just after Halloween, I think. I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's productive mindset, Madaffle mode, like it's Madaffle and all sorts.
Mad.
Got coffee. Yeah, got coffee. Went to the ass. Went to the co-op. Got my meal deal. Yeah, lunch ready. I was like, yeah, in the library at 8. I'm not leaving till 8. Say no more. And then I tried to cross the road to the ass. I stack and I tore a tear ligament in my ankle. Another 2 weeks in bed.
Wow.
It's mad, fam. It's so deep. But then, yeah, so during that, but for some reason, something kept me going. I think it was probably because I went through the second year and like, you know, something was working. So I still worked in bed, did the coursework from bed. And when I came back after that Christmas for Jan exams, like something had just clicked, and me and, you know, some of the econ boys, we would literally just became like a well-oiled like machine. Like every morning we'd wake up, go to the library together, have lunch together, have dinner together, go home like 2 a.m. Like there was a point. It was literally like in the library at 9, leave the library at 3, and then every day for a month.
Mad.
And on the off day, like, you know, you'd pass out a bit because you can't hack it. But then like suddenly, like, you know, averaged something, whatever it was, it averaged out to 2-1 at the end, January and summer.
Madness.
And so, yeah. So looking back, like when you see that you managed to do it through all of that, and you did it, when you come out the other end, honestly, you feel like you can do anything. Because I was watching a video on like the tax qualification, because that's something I'm gonna have to do for work, hopefully. And it was a video similar to like your videos, and she was just talking about her experience, and she was like, yeah, man, if you're doing this, you're gonna fail. It's hard, like you're gonna fail, but you need to know how to be able to pick yourself up and keep going and keep going. And I literally watched that video and laughed. I laughed, man, because I was like, I've done it. I've already done that. I can do this. I can do this, man. And I think that honestly, like, that's the best thing uni can teach you. Like, you can't teach work ethic. Yeah, the perseverance, the durability, the work ethic. Like, you can't teach that. You have to go through it, or you have to put yourself through it to learn it. Not that I wish that any of those things had happened, but in a way, I'm glad they did. In a way, not necessarily. Yeah, in a way. Yeah, I'll put it that way. But yeah, fully, man. I don't know.
Yeah, they all amount to important lessons. For me,
Yeah.
I went through, I wouldn't say the same stuff, but very similar. Like, you know, you're talking about how you're like a 6 and you're compared to like 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s.
Oh, yeah?
To me, that's like, you know, are you familiar with imposter syndrome?
No.
All right.
Go for it.
I'll explain it as briefly as I can, but imposter syndrome is basically like the belief that you're faking it, like you don't belong there, you don't deserve to be where you are. Was kind of what you were saying.
I can relate. Yeah.
Yeah, I think someone mentioned it to me. I'm like, nah, what is that nonsense? That doesn't sound real. And I did like a survey of like a 1 to 10, and I got to the bottom. It's like, if you scored 50 or above,
Oh.
like you have. I'm like, what? I got a perfect 100.
Oh. Oh, man.
But nah, like, I was like, damn, something's wrong with me. But then I looked into it, and a lot of that in uni, I think, stems from the fact that so many people, like in school, you're in the same bubble for 7 odd years. This is the first time where you've had people from London here, from like Manchester, from China, like all over the world, all the best of the best. And it's like, flip, man. Like, how is this?
Yeah, it's worldwide. Yeah, I always forget that. It's fully like you're competing against the world. Like, but that's what you always got to remember. Like, because when you're feeling like, obviously it's easy to say this now, but I'll try telling this to me like 2 years ago. But what you got to do is if you got to remember, like, how did you get to uni? Like, know what, when you were studying and applying for UCAS and doing your A levels, like nobody, obviously your friends and family always support you, but nobody opened your head, put the information in your head, and sat the exam for you. You did that.
Yeah.
That means that you deserve to be there, and that's what we always forget when, like, you know, we compare ourselves to all these smart dons that just kind of do their dissertation in like a couple of days, like. Yeah. But yeah, you did that. Like, you deserve to be there. You wouldn't be there if you couldn't hack it. Yeah, man, that's the thing. Like, it comes to a point where it's make or break, and you know, it could happen at uni, it could happen after uni, it could happen at work. You know, maybe you don't get a degree in the end of it, but then that's the point where you have to pick yourself up. You know, it will happen to someone at some point. I'd be very surprised if you got to like 70 and, you know, didn't have a challenge ever. So, you know, it's good.
Yeah,
It's good that it's happened, you know,
that's
you
true.
can transfer that. Like even, and you never know what can help you. Like, so as you know, like I put some music out recently. So where it came from is, so you know that second year I was talking about where like it was just deep. um,
Yeah.
yeah. So it came to a point where I couldn't revise in the library because as a human, you have to process your thoughts in it. And obviously when your friends are revising, you don't want to bother them too much. You have to you have to process your emotions. So what I did is when I was revising and I just couldn't revise no more, I just quickly like get a pen and paper out, you know, write a song because that's just something I do. Um, just talking about how I felt. And once I got out the system, I'd go back to revising. Yeah. And then,
Mm.
so eventually I put that out on, you know, Spotify, maybe hear like a couple songs here and there. And then in my AC for the job that I got, one of the questions the interviewer asked me was like, when's the last time you learned something new? And I genuinely, it's a fairly like general question.
Yeah.
And I probably should have prepared for it, but I just hadn't thought about it. And I was slumped, man. I was like, man, I genuinely asked him, I was like, could I have a second? And I just thought about it. And I went back and was like, oh, okay. I learned to, you know, record some music, you know, just with an acoustic guitar and like just a mic. And then we talked about that for a bit. And then he was like, okay, how far did you take this? Like when you learned something new? I was like, yeah, actually I put a few songs out on Spotify. And then I didn't know the answer to the question. And then, you know, I went from not knowing the answer to the question to suddenly looking really ambitious and motivated. And that came
Mm-hmm.
from something I did randomly just 2 years ago, trying to cope during exams. So you honestly never know what can come through for you. Actually never know.
That's a very good point.
That's like, yeah. And that was like, man, that got me gassed when I thought about it. Cause I was like, wow, like 2 years ago, I was struggling like to, you know, get through the exams. And that's something that ended up being a contributing factor to, you know, passing an interview. But
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
How does that even work out?
That's nuts.
Music and tax. What do you mean?